My name is Hannah. I lived in the same house of a woman that was not kind or patient or had any goodness in her heart. She would always belittle me and bully me. My heart hurt and all I could do was hold on to God's hand to give me patience and peace. This is our story. Dear Diary, again she parades in front of me and gives me a lopsided, cynical smirk, knowing I can't look away. She bends over and blows bubbles under her little one's neck. Come, my precious, she coos, all the while watching me. Mummy needs to change you. The baby giggles in delight as she tickles his belly. I turn away quickly and unclench my fist. How can she? She knows exactly how I feel about not having children, yet she torments me unmercifully. My stomach turns and I suddenly feel sick. Tears threaten, but I swallow rapidly to avoid a show. I don't want to spoil the family banquet with my little tantrum. Penina is jealous because Elkanah treats me with so much love and gives me double portions of food every year we come to Shiloh to worship God. He says the meat will make me strong, but I can't eat it, and it just makes her seethe. She prowls the room, her dark eyes slanted, glaring, looking very much like a viper. At times like this, I wish I could smirk back and rub it in her face that I'm the beloved wife. But I can't. My heart stops me. My God stops me. I look around the room. Penina's daughters are laughing at the end of the long, low table, egging on two boys who are arm wrestling. Another of her sons is digging into his plate of dessert with both cheeks full of food. He's the last one eating. The sweet aroma of dates, fruit and nuts lingers in the air. Little Adina leans towards me and smiles. Auntie Hannah, she whispers and pauses to look around, making sure her mother's not listening. Yes, darling? I whisper back at the endearing upturned face of this curly-haired 8-year-old. A dream daughter. Are you going to the markets today? I shake my head no. It's just that I really want to go and see the... Adina! A shrill warning from across the room startles us both. Adina jumps and we look at each other in understanding. Stop gossiping and eat! But Mother, Daddy said I could stop eating if I'd had enough. I don't see your father anywhere, she snaps. He went to see one of the servants and he's coming back soon, says Adina. He did say I could stop eating. Don't be insolent, Adina. Never answer back to me. The mother storms towards us with her baby dangling in one arm and the bowl of water in the other hand. She halts in front of me and glares daggers, her dark eyes filled with hate. And I've told you not to speak to my children. Have your own. I cringe. Her voice turns syrupy. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. You can't have any. She shouts the last word to emphasize my misfortune, then smiles. It's such a shame, really, that you will never know the joy of having a child of your own. You'll never know the joy of someone calling you mummy or I need you. Ever. I feel my throat constricting. I can scarcely breathe. You've been cursed by God, she spits out as the water spills from the bowl. You're a shame to this family and you should be treated like an outcast, a disgrace to the female race. It would have been better if you'd never been born. I gasp for air and a painful cry escapes from me. Leave me alone, Penina! Why can't you just leave me alone? I stumble on the hem of my robe as I get up from the cushioned floor and make for the door. Why, God? Why? My insides tear in anguish as I flee outside. I let loose with pent-up sobs, sliding down the outside wall of the villa onto the cold terracotta tiles of the porch. The laughter and squealing inside continues, but I can't concentrate on it. All I see is the vast, desolate scenery before me. Shiloh is a barren place with few trees and plenty of bare earth, seared by the sun. Shiloh is just like me, barren and scorched, infertile, unable to give my husband children.
Happy Friday, girls. It's Esther.
And it's Steph here, and we are back in the kitchen.
Yes, we have a delicious recipe for you girls today, and it's an instant mango sorbet.
Oh, yum.
And this is by our great friend, Brooklyn Kate. So, girls, do you have pen and paper? Don't forget that if you don't want to write it out, that's completely fine.
We will have a PDF with all these recipes at the end of the month, so you can wait for that if you want.
Yeah, and you can download it for free. All right, so get ready. The ingredients: 1 egg white, 300 grams of mango chopped, a 1/4 cup of coconut milk or coconut juice, shredded coconut for garnish. Method number 1. Freeze small pieces of mango the night before preparing the sorbet, or you can already buy the frozen mango pieces. That's in the cold section at any of the stores that you can buy. Number 2, take frozen mango pieces out of the freezer and place in a high-speed blender. Now, a tip on this is take it out about 1 hour before you go into blend because it could be hard and break the blades. Number 3, add in the coconut milk and blend for 30 seconds or 1 minute and making sure you stop the blender scraping down the sides. Number 4, add egg white into mixture and blend on low to moderate speed until smooth and well combined. Number 5, scoop out and serve with macadamia nuts or coconut if desired. Otherwise, girls, if it's not hard enough and you want it to be harder, just put it in a container, cover it with plastic, and then freeze it for at least an hour to see how it is. And then you can scoop it and serve it. So we hope you love it and enjoy it.
Okay, so now we've got everything in our blender.
And
let's blend.
Yes. Yum. Ooh, time to taste.
Oh, yum.
Okay.
That's really nice.
That's really yummy. I would put mine in the freezer because I wanted a little bit more ice creamy type,
Yeah,
you know.
I do like the ice cream.
Yes.
And crushed macadamias on top.
Yes. Okay, girls, this is good, but we've got to put it in the freezer and we're going to continue with our study.
Yes, let's start our fruits of the Spirit. Okay, so last week we talked about love, joy, and peace.
Yes.
So this one we are starting with patience.
Yes. Don't forget, girls, that you've got to go back to Galatians 5.
That's right, Galatians 5 verses 22 and 23. And it says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law."
If you haven't heard the first 3 we did, just go back 1 episode from last week and then you can catch up. So today, peace.
I went to Google. Of
yes.
course, I want to see these definitions. And it actually said that patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset.
Yes.
Yeah, no, look, we all get upset. Stuck in traffic, someone bumps into you, you just, how could they? Like little things just upset you. And I think I'm a fairly patient person. I always usually tend to go with the flow and things don't bother me a lot. But
sometimes as
there
humans,
are
it
times
does.
you just lose that patience. I think also living in an instant world where we don't have to wait for a lot of things, you know, makes us lose our patience quickly when we have to wait or when something happens.
Yes.
But why do I get more impatient some days than others? And then I'm thinking, did I neglect maybe my Bible study in the morning? Did I not start my day with God? So I went looking in the Bible and in Colossians 3, Colossians 3 verse 12, it says, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." Do I do that every morning? Do I clothe myself with that?
No, I think sometimes we don't.
No, I think it's a rush.
It's a rush mornings. But yes, patience is very important. I agree.
And it's funny because when we talk about the fruit of the Spirit, sometimes I like to relate a fruit to the characteristic. So for me, when I think of patience, I think of grapes. Because you need a lot of them.
Yes, a lot of patience. I love it.
And I think the best way or the best place where we can practice this, I think, is at home. Because I think we're pretty good at putting a mask on outside. But at home, when we don't have that mask and they know how we are, I guess, we're just like, I don't want to have patience. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. With our brothers, our sisters, our parents.
Yeah.
Best way to start training and practicing this patience is at home.
That's right. I agree 100%.
So this week coming, practice the patience with those around you. But what is our next fruit?
Kindness. Okay. And I think it goes closely related to patience. Yeah. If you're patient, you're kind.
It's true. And you're patient and kind with those you love.
That's right. So what is kindness? Kindness is expression of how you act towards other people. Kindness, you have to be, honest here. It's really rare this time because we are rushing around, we have no patience with others, we are cranky, and we can't be bothered to show kindness. And in the Bible, Jesus was the ultimate example of kindness. If you read the New Testament especially, you will find that Jesus made time to talk to people. He took time to heal the sick, and he took time to feed the people that were hungry. And, he made time for this little act of kindness. He was kind to the people who were not loved. So what I'd like you girls to do is to get your book out, and I'd like you to write 3 kind acts that you have done recently.
Let's say the last week.
The last week.
The maximum time I'm going to say is 2 weeks, but let's try with a week.
So write in there, what kind of things have you done that have shown kindness towards others? So we're going to give you some time to write. I have to really think about when I show kindness as well, because he challenges us as adults.
Oh, he challenges everyone. Doesn't matter what age.
That's right. So kindness doesn't have to be something so huge, a big act of kindness. It can be something little. And I'm going to share a story with you that I found at moreillustrations.com. And I'll read it. Her good morning. It was a chilly day and the wind blew cold on that particular corner. The blind man had sold very few papers that morning. He sighed. The wind blew colder. The hurrying crowd surged by, but no one spoke. And then at his elbow, a sweet young voice said suddenly, "Good morning." The man turned his sightless eyes in the direction of the speaker. "Who is this?" he said quickly. The young girl in the plain hat and modest suit, who had stopped to speak to him, was silent for a moment. "It is I, Marjorie Dean," she said gently. "I work in the Hampton studio in the Graham block. I thought I'd stop and say good morning to you." The blind man nodded. He no longer felt the cold wind that had so chilled him. He forgot his own helplessness and the fact that he had sold so very few papers. Out of the darkness that shadowed him, a sweet voice had spoken. His loneliness was gone. The world was a friendly place after all. Someone had stopped to say, "Good morning." He smiled. "I'm so glad you did," he said softly.
Oh, that's really sweet and so sad.
I know. Oh my goodness. So just one little thing.
Can I just say, when you were talking about little things, even just a smile.
Love goes hand in hand with kindness. So if you have love,
You have the kindness and the joy and all
everything,
the fruits
exactly.
get added on.
So when was the last time you said hi to that sad or quiet girl at school? Or what about that quirky boy that you don't understand? How about the mean teacher? I think that's harder too. Sometimes you don't feel like saying hi. But imagine how they would feel if they just get a smile or a hello from you.
This actually reminds me of when I was in primary school. I used to hang out in a big group. We were all friends. I'm not going to say I was popular, but, we had a good crowd. Mm-hmm. But there was this one girl who was different. And they sort of looked at her like being a bit of a loser. And I remember one day we had come back from play and she wasn't there. And then they started talking and laughing, saying, she was sitting right in the middle of the oval by herself.
Oh.
And I don't know, I just felt really bad and I went to talk to her. And I said, I won't say her name, but,
So-and-so.
Yeah, so-and-so. What's wrong? Are you okay? And she was upset because she didn't have friends and people were mean to her. And let's be honest. Yes, she was maybe a bit weird or different, but she wasn't mean. There was nothing wrong with her. You just choose to be picking on someone.
I think sometimes, and this happens all the time, that we feel that we're high and mighty.
Yeah.
And that we're more important than that person who's strange. And so we don't take the time.
No.
And I think if Jesus was on earth, those are the people he'll be talking to. Doesn't mean you have to hang around them, girls. Doesn't mean you have to be BFFs.
No, it just means you need to be civil and treat them like a human being. Who cares if they're different,
We're all different.
We are. And I remember that this girl, I did invite her to play with us for a bit, this is grade 7, so we did play. We played chase. But, we played and she was happier. I think she did leave afterwards or maybe went to high school. I don't remember the details.
But you don't know the impact you had.
Oh, actually, I did find out.
Oh.
I know, this is really weird. But years later, and over 10 years later, my sister, who works at a school, actually saw her.
Oh.
And she recognized the last name. And she said, do you know Stephanie? And she said, yes. She goes, she helped me feel included. And she helped me once when I was really upset. And that made a huge difference in my life.
10 years after.
Yeah.
See, girls? 10 years after.
So there are two things here I want to sort of shed light on. Number one, don't think about what your friends are going to say. Like, Steph's talking to her. What a weirdo. She's just like her. No. Stand up for what you know is right and go and talk to that person or make them feel included or just be nice, smile, say hello, whatever. Just
one little act of kindness can change somebody's life. You have heard, and I'm sure you girls have heard, all the people that commit suicide because you have been bullied, you have been treated nasty. And, I get passionate about this topic because I hate it.
I was bullied. So I do get passionate too. And so my second point is, what is the point of your exclusion and meanness? What is it? Why are you being mean?
Even amongst your group, sometimes you have a group of girls or a group of mixed, boys and girls, and there is always something that happens in there because somebody is mean to someone else. No, girls, it's time to get off that mighty horse.
Yeah, and stop being mean.
And just come down. Be more like Jesus.
There is no point to what you are doing.
Yes. So we're going to get off our cranky pants right now and go back to our fruit of the Spirit, which is goodness. But before we go to this one, I'd like you to have a look at I have 2 verses. Proverbs 16:24. So girls, if you want to get your Bibles out and highlight this one, it says, kind words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. The other verse is Proverbs 15:4. And this is the Good News translation. And it says, kind words bring life, but cruel words crush your spirit. So highlight that one as well in your Bible. And even if it varies in the wording, it means the same thing.
Okay, so goodness. Okay, so back to Google because I'd like to know what it means. And I was actually genuinely surprised that when I Googled what goodness is, there were so many words. Like there were a lot. But in my mind, before I even looked at this, I thought being good was just behaving nicely at church or in school, but it is so much more.
Oh,
and let me read you just a few of the words that I've decided to read, because there were a lot of what goodness is. So there is virtue, good, righteousness, morality, integrity, principle, dignity, honesty, truth, truthfulness, honor, decency, respectability, nobility of soul or spirit, worthiness, merit, trustworthiness, purity, and justice.
Oh my goodness.
And these are just a few. It hadn't even crossed my mind that these words were associated with goodness.
Yeah, me either.
And then at the bottom, they always give an example sentence, and this is what they had. He was a dangerous criminal, but he had some goodness in him.
Oh, how is that?
Exactly.
possible?
I was surprised. I'm thinking, how can a criminal have goodness? But then I realized that no matter who we are, we all have goodness. But the difference is if we decide to use it or not.
Ah, right. Got it.
Sometimes, goodness is something that is produced by good actions, by things that we do. And that makes us feel good when we do something good. But it's not easy. I actually, sadly, have known people who I see either at school or at church that are good on the outside when they do things, but they actually have mean, hateful thoughts and desires on the inside where we can't see. And that got me thinking of Satan. He was an angel in heaven named Lucifer, and he was full of all these virtues, including goodness. But what happened? He let jealousy and pride fill his heart, and his actions were no longer good.
That's right.
And I went to Isaiah 14, verses 12 to 15, and it talks about him. So if you girls can get your Bibles and come with me to read Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 to 15. And it says, "How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the Mount of Assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit." If we go back to see verse 13, it tells us that in his heart he had all these thoughts. But what happened? He couldn't contain them. His masks fell off and his goodness went. So girls, let's work on this goodness, because when we do, it becomes part of our character, and who we are becomes how we react to certain situations. So remember those virtues that I read that goodness is? Righteousness, morality, integrity, all those? Well, let's see how we can apply them in different situations. If a friend asks you to help them cheat, or if you want to cheat because you haven't studied or you want a good mark, you need to say no, and that means you're using your integrity. When a friend comes and tells you to try some drugs or alcohol, or you're at a party and they're like, "Come on, it's normal," you need to say no. You're using principle. If your boyfriend wants to have sex with you, you need to say no. And if he doesn't respect your decision and your morals, well, girls, you need to dump him. I know that sounds really harsh and extreme, but holding on to a guy that doesn't respect you or your feelings or what you stand for isn't worth it. He only wants one thing from you, and sex is not love. So when you say no and you stand up to this, you are using your purity and your dignity. If he hasn't asked you to have sex, but he's touching you where he shouldn't, and we all know those places, you need to stand your ground, and he needs to respect you, or you say goodbye. You're using your morality and your worth. You can also choose your goodness when you're watching, listening, reading, or speaking. You just need to ask yourself, what am I watching or reading? Is it rude? If someone walked in right now, would I be embarrassed? Would I try and hide it? Is it disgusting? How is the music I'm listening to suggesting I act? Are the words coming out of my mouth something I would use in church or in front of the Queen? If it's no, then you shouldn't use it at all. You need to stand up for your ground. And is it easy? Not at all. I've been in a few of these situations, and let me tell you that when you stand your ground, it is uncomfortable. You feel embarrassed, like a goody two-shoes. You feel like an idiot because people look at you like, who is this weirdo? This is normal. You're out of the crowd. But I promise you that when you do say no, even though you don't feel the satisfaction of your actions straight away, they will definitely come. And every time you say no again and again, you get stronger, it gets easier. And it is so, so worth it. Trust me. So girls, start practicing this goodness because it is never too late to start. Let it be part of your character.
I have loved these 3 fruits we've seen. I mean, so far we've seen 6, but these ones as well have been so, so good.
They're also important.
They're also important. And no matter what age you are, it applies to us today.
Yes, the age doesn't make a difference.
No.
Who you are doesn't make a difference.
No.
And it is hard for anyone, everyone.
But girls, we hope that you have learned a lot in this study. And this is it from us.
Yes, until next Friday, girls.
Enjoy. And don't forget to stick around so that you can hear the rest of Hannah's diary.
See you, girls. Till next time.
Bye.
In the distance, I see the silhouette of the temple, and it fills me with longing. I take the shawl from my shoulders and wrap it around my head. There, at least, I will find comfort and peace. The temple is dim, and I squint while my eyes adjust to the dark coolness. There's silence. For once, it's empty of worshippers. I thank God that I can kneel in privacy this day in His sanctuary. Pleas and prayers leap to my mouth, and I let it all out as tears streak down my face. Lord, please change Penina. Please give me a child. I can't take it anymore. My wounds are raw and deep, and her remarks are salt in them, making me bleed again and again. Help me, Lord Almighty, God of Abraham, hear my prayer. I hunch inward over my bitterness and pain. My legs and arms suddenly cold, and I shake violently. Lord, listen to my prayers and remember me. Hear my pain and open my womb so that I can bear a child. I promise this baby will belong to you and you alone. As a sign, I will never use a razor on his head. He will be yours.
Woman, put away your wine. How long are you going to stay drunk?
The sharp rebuke makes me jump, and I turn towards the male voice coming from the doorway. My Lord Eli! A hand flies to my throat in horror. Drunk? No, sir. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I pause and take in a shaky breath. I was talking to my God and pouring out my soul to Him. You are a priest of God. Please understand that I am deep in the cup of anguish and grief. Tears spill down my cheeks. My mouth and throat are full of them. The priest's aged face frowns in thought, and his eyes lift to heaven. He walks towards me, and I suddenly know that the man is about to pronounce the will of God.
Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked Him.
A moment to take it all in. Then a sudden bubble of joy rises up within me. For the first time in a long time, I smile. Tears still stream down my face, but I smile. I choke out my thanks and I run up the hill towards the villa. My steps feel light and the heaviness of my heart has been lifted. I can't wait to tell Elkanah. And strangely, I'm very hungry. It's been a long time since I felt this well. God has heard my prayers. I can feel it. You're listening to Show Jesus by Jaime Grace.
Sorry. La 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 la, yeah. Your smile's always shining out, and they know what it's all about. It's not hard for them to figure out the way you show Jesus. You know love is what they heard, and you didn't even say a word. Ain't it funny, that's the way it works. So when you know Jesus, oh, it's like flipping on a light switch when you're walking into this room. It's so undeniable. I gotta tell you that I like the way anytime, anywhere, any place, it's written all over your face. The way you love Jesus, and it always speaks to me. When life's hard and times get tough, you're right there